People want to spend two of the most valuable resources that they have in their lives, which is their time and their money, but they want to spend it with people that they can connect with. When you're a small business, I think connection is the most important thing that we have. Such a right tone to build that level of trust and credibility.
When people feel like they trust you and they know you, they're less likely to be a bad actor in terms of like how they're going to handle the rental, or, are they going to do things that they shouldn't be doing in the rental? Or are they going to stiff you for a cancellation or those kind of things?
We see a lot of people that get into short-term rentals thinking it's this easy breezy business, and then they get burnt out on that when they were already burnt out from the prior careers.
Everybody now has AI solutions when their product somewhere. And what is the AI solution that we want to use for guest response? And what is the AI solution that we want to use for automation of accounting practice, for business ops, things like that. It's constantly evolving.
We'll start the show in just a minute, but first, a word from our premier brand sponsor.
I'm Mercedes, founder of MBX Homes, and we are a co-hosting company based in Southern California. We manage over 100 properties to date, and Lodgify has become the core of our business. Without it, I don't even think our business could run. It truly has become the heart. We're able to see all of the reservations. Our cleaners go into their portal and they make sure all the cleans are done for the day. And of course, our owners know exactly what's happening in their property. And I think that's amazing to have full transparency in your business on both the operational side and your client side. At MBX Homes, we pride ourselves in brand recognition, and Logify has truly helped with that. Since we have so many repeat clients, we're easily able to welcome our guests back by sending the direct booking link, and I think that is the feature that has really helped our business grow. By having a direct booking website, not only are we really promoting our own brand and our own properties, we are able to fully control that reservation and make the most profit for both ourselves and, of course, our clients, aka our co-hosting owners. The Lodgify team has been wonderful. They truly have supported so many hosts, including myself. During our onboarding for Lodgify, we had a dedicated person who was with us every step of the way when it came to onboarding. And ever since then, when we have new questions or we're onboarding new properties, we're able to reach out to Lodgify and they are able to help us integrate seamlessly. They're so easy to get a hold of, wherever you're getting a hold of them via Lodgify themselves, you're emailing them, or you're calling the support number. Somebody is always there to take care of you and to make sure that the problem is resolved in real time. If you're a co-host managing multiple properties, I truly do recommend Lodgify. It's a real tool that we use every single day, and it has only helped grow our business.
Looking to streamline how you manage your short-term rentals? Get started with Lodgify today and get 20% off yearly and bi-yearly plans. Plus, free personalized onboarding worth over $3,000 when you use the code AAA20 at checkout. This offer is valid until December 31st, 2025. Click the link in the description to get started today.
Welcome to Alex Naney, the Real Women of Vacation Rentals. I'm Alex.
And I'm Annie.
And we are joined today with Kerri Gibson, who is the co-founder of Xplorie Hygge. Kerri, it's so good to see you today.
Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for having me. I have been listening to your podcast since I fell into the short-term rental world back in 2018, I think.
Oh.
Wow. Well, thank you for listening. We appreciate that. And so that was going to be my first question right off the bat. So we talk to people all the time, and very few people consciously make the decision to get into vacation rentals. So you said you fell into it. What were the circumstances that made you fall into vacation rentals? Did you trip?
Yes, there was a series of trips, stumbles, a few tears involved, and then ultimately finding my place in hospitality. But I actually found my way into the world of short-term rental after I left my corporate job in 2017, just with a big burnout and really feeling that I needed to reset my life to align with what I now know is more my core values, because I was feeling really, once I found out I was really burned out, it was because I was on a track that didn't align with my core values. But after I left my job, I took a year sabbatical. And one of the things we did during that time was we bought a house, my partner and I, in the neighborhood that we lived in that needed renovating. And it was something we had talked about, just on and off, because we were both in the tech world always behind computers. And we thought, oh, we should buy a house to renovate just to have something fun to do. And all of a sudden I had time on my hands and no idea for sure what I was going to do. So we bought one. And I spent the next 9 months renovating it with a contractor. And we were playing with the idea of selling it, but we were also knew we were in a short-term rental zoned area. And I was just too attached to it after that renovation process. So we turned it into a short-term rental. And that was in 20, so 7 years later, we never stopped.
Wow. Wow. Well, I'm sure you've learned a lot in that journey though, right? I mean, it's like things are just moving so fast. And once you're in, you kind of just have to get it and figure it out. But I mean, once you decided you wanted to make this into a real business, you know, where did you go? And you mentioned you watched our podcast, but I mean, what were the steps you kind of went through to figure out, okay, what do I need to do first? Like what tech I need to get? Like what was the first beginning part?
Oh my. So while I had absolutely zero experience in hospitality, aside from being a very frequent road warrior and traveler in my corporate job, and of course when I was on vacation, I didn't know anything about hospitality, but what I did know was a lot about building businesses. Being in tech, that had been my job. I was in the product management executive team. And so that's what we do is we go out and we figure out problems, how to build products to solve problems. And so figuring out how to solve problems was nothing that I was scared of. And so once I figured out, because like everybody else when I first started, I just threw my property on Airbnb and I said, let's see what happens. Let's see if this is a real thing. And as it turns out, it was a real thing with real opportunity. So I was like, okay, if this is going to be a business and possibly something that will keep me from having to go back into the corporate world, I need to dig in and I need to figure out how to do this the right way. So, I mean, I started as I would have started any business, just kind of digging into the legal side of it. You know, what are all the registrations I have to do? What are the permits that I have to have? What are the tax requirements? You know, getting my head around all of that. And at that time, I would say, so Quebec has always had short-term rental regulations, but we've been regulated since day one. But it was also starting to be a hot topic in Montreal. So immediately when I came in, it was when it was kind of short-term rentals were really sitting in the hot seat. So I knew right away that I needed to do it the legal way if I was going to succeed. So I would say that's where I started. I spent the first year really understanding the legalities of the business, how to run it in a way that honors the community. And as soon as I figured out all of my groundwork of just establishing a real business, I knew that I needed to get started on building an independent business separate from the OTAs, which is what led me down the tech stack journey.
So the tech stack brought you to Lodgify. Was that the first one that you took a look at, or did you look at several different systems?
Oh, goodness. So this was in 2018, and I looked at several different systems. And I think not all of them, some of them are no longer in existence. Like I think there was IGMS that was a big contender at the time. I don't think they even exist anymore. There was one, I can't remember. There were several that I looked at that never made it past the basic stage. But I would say the big contenders I looked at that time were Logify, OwnerRez, and a few others. I don't remember, but yeah, I had my spreadsheet, my decision-making spreadsheet on my requirements because I love a good spreadsheet on what I needed out of a tech stack. In addition to needing a PMS and a CMS, I also needed a website, which was a big contender for me. So I had slowly built out, just kind of using Airbnb at the time as my foundation for what are some of the requirements if I was going to do it outside of Airbnb. And then just using my knowledge of where did I think I wanted my business to go and what were the components I needed. And I interviewed several. And yeah, I actually ended up obviously going with Logify. And the reason I picked Logify was because they were a website tool when I used them that was starting down the PMS and CMS channel, or route. And they were very open with their roadmap. So I was seeing there was not a lot of tech. What there was in tech was young. And I liked that Logify was so transparent with me about where they were going and what was and was not on their roadmap. So yeah, I ended up going with Lodgify and started building my website, and then was able to start onboarding all the pieces to where Lodgify is today.
Oh, great. Great. And I was just looking on your LinkedIn, it says that you get 70% of your bookings direct, which that's an impressive number. I mean, there's a lot of managers that started about the same time you did that are, in the single digits or maybe, 10 to 20%. So maybe tell us a little bit about how you've done it. That's, what we love talking about the most is direct bookings. So
I love talking direct bookings as well. So of course, you have to have the tech stack in order to support that. So our tech stack, I would consider Logify to be the heart and soul of our tech stack. And then any software we use outside of that has to plug into it. But technology only does so much for you. It handles the automation, it handles your presence, but you still have to have a strategy to go behind it. And I think that's one reason that we continue to win and grow in the direct book strategies, because I spend a lot of time working on what is that? What are my marketing channels? What is my messaging? Who are my avatars? And keeping that constantly fresh and going. So my website, what it is today is not what it was when I started. And my social media, what it is today is not what it was when I started. And it's just the constant iterative steps of putting in place a strategy and moving it forward a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that makes sense. Of course, you learn by doing and trying and refining it. You got a lot of companies get stuck in the kind of gray area of they want to do everything. And so they'll do a little bit of everything. And it's like, okay, we're kind of checking the boxes, but you really have to hone in on what's working and actually have a strategy behind it before you just jump into the tactics too. That's kind of the most important part with it. But where are you driving most of your traffic from to get to that 70%?
So 40% of our guests are return guests. So right there, that is a huge layer. So yes, and that's the low hanging fruit that I think everybody can forget about or overlook when they're starting to think about a direct book strategy, because thinking about it is very overwhelming. It's like, okay, I'm sitting at, 0, 1, 2%, today from those who just happen to take on the phone. And how do I get to the next level? So actually knowing where your guests are coming from is super important. And as you start to build out your marketing strategy, you'll learn what does and doesn't work. And I quickly, in looking at our statistics, saw that we were getting 40% return guests. And that is the lowest hanging fruit that anybody can go after. And it's an easy way to start your direct book strategy because they're guests you already have a relationship and a connection to. So you don't have to have this whole robust social media and Google ads and SEO tactics to start going after those return guests. And after that, it's social media that brings the biggest number of our direct books. And in addition to just having a social media presence, we do a lot of collaborations with influencers and content creators, but we also do a lot of social media work with what I call partner marketing, which is our tourism boards and other local small businesses that are bringing people in for experiences. Like for us, example, it's Nordic spas. A lot of people come here for the Nordic spa experience. So, I have one that I partner with. So I sit side by side with them on their page and on their social media. So knowing where they're coming from. So for us, it's strong return guests and making sure that you make it easy for them to find you to rebook. And second is knowing that social media and where on social media are they coming from. And that really just takes testing until you know. But I did find that for us, partner marketing and collaborations are a really strong social media driver that then drive to a direct book.
So for you guys, that's a very outdoorsy market, right? So it's a lot of, I would say, do you have a lot of Gen Z millennial travelers that are coming through?
Actually, so Hygge is the concept of finding joy and contentment and the cozy moments, and often that's surrounded by nature.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah, it's a concept that Philip and I discovered when we were in Norway for his 50th birthday, and we were like, the joie de vivre here is just so much different than anywhere else, and and it's digging into it, it's a lifestyle philosophy that they really live by. And so
That's
yeah,
so cool.
so we knew that we wanted to create something that would help people feel that when they come and they arrive, they feel disconnected and able to spend time with their loved ones when they're there and with nature, because we are in ski outdoor resort areas. So of course we intertwine nature in with that. And the majority of our customer avatar is going to be the millennials and Gen Xers. So it tends to be people that are looking for adventure and experience and something to have, but in a low key way, like relaxing and enjoying and just being in the moment and sitting with a book, going to a spa, maybe taking an afternoon hike, but not necessarily like out looking, for like the biggest adventure to have to go viral with, if that makes sense. So those of us that are more like, like we want some activity, we want some calm, but we also appreciate the tranquility and the calmness of being on vacation as well.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And I should have said Gen Z, and I think I said Gen X, right? Yeah, I don't know. There's too many gens to worry about here. But either way, it sounds spectacular.
I'm a millennial, and it's just so easy to remember that. It's just
right.
one word, no
I'm a
letters.
Gen Z, and I'm a Gen X, and I want to be a Gen Z because I'm getting. I don't know, whatever.
I'm a solid Gen X, and I actually love my being a Gen X so much.
I know. I was on your website too, and for anybody listening, you've got to check out their site. And the reason why we're saying the name, or we feel like it sounds strange to us, it's Hygge, but it's spelled Hygge, and so their website is Chalets hygge.com. But your About Us page is so amazing, and like you tell the story of you and your partner, and the trials, and your dad saying to you, you're wasting your life away in corporate America. And we just got back from Italy last week, and on our panel or our presentation, we talked about, on your About page, share your story, let people know who you are and why they're staying with you. And I think a lot of companies are just really hesitant to go in that direction, but just wanted to call that out, because I think what you've put together here, it shows heart and soul of what you have built into the business.
Thank you, Alex. I understand people's hesitation to like put that out there and be, vulnerable, or maybe feel like they're talking about themselves a little bit too much, which was my hesitation, was talking a little bit about myself. They're here to be on vacation and to enjoy and relax, not here to learn about me. But the more time I spent with our guests, I found that actually wasn't true, because people want to spend two of the most valuable resources that they have in their lives, which is their time and their money, but they want to spend it with people that they can connect with, And so when you're a small business, I think connection is the most important thing that we have to make it through, because being a small business owner can be really lonely, and it can be tough financially at times, and you can kind of feel stuck on your own at times. So building community through your customers, your guests, your other small businesses within the community, I think is so important. And when your guests feel that they can connect with you, I think that brings down a whole lot of barriers for them from, when we pick a place to stay and go on vacation. I'm going through it right now. I'm actually booking my vacation, to go to Italy with my parents at the end of the month. And as I'm going through and looking at the sites of places of where to stay, I'm so scared of making the wrong decision, and that we're going to get there and be so disappointed and let down. And I found that when you let people into who you are and to who your story is at the beginning, and they connect with it, they instantly feel more at ease. And like it sets such a right tone to build that level of trust and credibility right from the beginning. And it's so funny, because for our motel website, we recently launched a brand new site, because it's a new property, about 5 or 6 months ago. But I was on a call with the girl who does our website. She's like, Kerri, you are the number one ranking page on the website right now, Kerri Gibson, Hygge,
Oh.
And,
Oh,
and I
great.
Yeah. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah. She said, I think it's just, because we've done this really nice About You page. And I think people want to know who they're coming to see and who they're trusting with their time and their money. So I found that to be super interesting. But yeah, so I definitely think an About Us is a good investment for anyone to make.
Well, building that trust is so important. And I think that's one thing that we talk about in our industry is that we don't have a big box brand behind us that can build that trust with the consumer. So that's where, for you as a manager, you have to do that on your own, but you've let people in and they feel more comfortable. And they're also, I think when people feel like they trust you and they know you, they're less likely to be a bad actor in terms of like how they're going to handle the rental or, are they going to do things that they shouldn't be doing in the rental? Or are they going to like stiff you for a cancellation or those kind of things? So I think it's super important to do that. But I was curious. So when you started out, you had the one property. How many do you have now, not including the motel?
We have 6 short-term rental properties.
Okay.
Yep. And they are all properties. So we're owner-operators. They're all properties that we acquired, I would say, at very good prices because they were in distress. They were distressed properties that needed a lot of attention. So there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, literally blood. I probably hammered my fingers more times than I cared to count. Nicked myself. But in each property that we do. And so that's one thing that we have done is scale very slowly and intentionally because number one, I feel that that's one of the reasons I left corporate was getting to be too far away from the people aspect. And that's what I love about hospitality. So by scaling slowly, we're able to apply every lesson that we've learned from renovating into the next one. Also, as owner operators, it gives us time to come up with the money to renovate each and every single one of them. And so I find that because we have scaled slowly and then in time, we've been able to build not only the properties and make them better and better as we go along, but we've been able to build that tech and that guest experience to scale alongside of it. Because, and you're so right, I mean, the most important thing we have as small businesses in the hospitality industry is that trust factor. And you have about 2 seconds to establish that trust factor from the first time they come into contact with your brand. And for some people, that's when they hit their website. And for some people, it's when they hit their social media. And for some people, it's when they walk in the property. Because if they're not the one that did the booking and did all the communication and everything in advance, the first time they walk in the property is their first experience with you. So like every single one of those steps is trust building within the guest experience. And they all need to be your best foot forward as much as possible.
We'll be back in just a minute. But first, a word from our premier brand sponsor.
Hi, my name is Julie Bird. I'm the president of Cabo Villas, and we're part of the Nocturne Luxury Villas collection. I've been with Cabo Villas for more than 23 years. When I first learned our company was going to be sold and that Nocturne was coming in, my immediate concern was for my team. Naturally, questions came up. Would they keep their jobs? Would their pay or roles change? Would their benefits be protected? As a leader, ensuring stability and security for my team was my top priority. What quickly reassured me was seeing Nocturne's commitment, not just in retaining our employees, but to actually enhancing their experience. They invested in our people, improving compensation models, strengthening benefits, and creating new opportunities for growth. Nocturne brought resources, expertise, and a culture that aligned with our values, which made me excited about what the future could hold for both our team and our homeowners. We were also concerned about whether our identity as a local expert would be honored and maintained. It quickly became clear that Nocturne respects the local expertise of our teams while providing new ways to make all aspects of our business even stronger. The results have been significant across every area: bookings, visibility, and homeowner engagement. While our digital marketing was already strong, Nocturne has elevated to a entirely new level. We're seeing steady growth in bookings, and just as importantly, we're attracting new homeowners to our portfolio. Even in a down market, we're consistently outperforming our 2024 numbers, a clear sign that the strategies and resources we now have in place are working. I would tell any company leader considering joining us that Nocturne is a partner you can trust to honor your brand while helping you take it further than you could on your own. What truly sets Nocturne apart is both the culture and the leadership. Their approach is people-centric. They genuinely care about you, your team, and the values that make your brand unique. If you want to protect what you've built while joining a team of the industry's best with the resources and collaboration to unlock new opportunities, Nocturne is the right partner.
If you're considering your next chapter, go to nocturneluxuryvillas.com to see how they can help you protect your legacy while unlocking new opportunities. You hit on a really good point earlier about, the lowest hanging fruit is to get more repeat business out of the guests that you already have. And we've talked about that many times on the show and different podcasts that we've been on also. And, I think it's depending on the area that you're in some areas, it's more complicated if it's not an area that people go often to, but where you are, where Annie is, where I am, we're all in destinations that people come year after year. I was just at the airport a couple weeks ago and met a gentleman that was down here on a golf trip. That golf packages are a big thing in Myrtle Beach, and his group has been coming down for 50 years, and they come every year. And obviously people cycle in and out of who's coming, but it's there's a lot of destinations that people return to, and I think it is sometimes overlooked as the easiest, lowest barrier to entry and cost effective way to get more repeat business. And then also of that repeat business, who can they refer you to? They obviously have friends and family that are similar demographically. So it's like, how can you really leverage those audiences? But I would curious just to know, what are some tips that you've seen that have worked really well to actually get those people to book again, like in the home and the communications once they leave, that kind of stuff?
Oh, for sure. So when a guest leaves your property, that's just your opportunity to continue to expand the relationship, to extend it. Like, it shouldn't end. Like, when they check out, it shouldn't have been, "Thank you for our guest. We'll see you." You should have as much as possible, continue the conversation with them in ways that they've raised hands to. And so one of the most important things that I find that people can do is make sure that people know once they're in your property, if they haven't direct booked, the opportunities to direct book, the opportunities to stay engaged with you and your brand, whether that's, QR codes for your social media. One of the things we used to do back in the old school was leave a little sign behind card to sign up for our email list. And now we use Stay5 for that. But everything that you can to let them know along the way that staying engaged with you is easy and being able to stay top of mind. And also, honestly, I'm just going to go back to good old, we offer all of our return guests a 10% off, going forward. I know that people have mixed feelings on that, but for us, it's been really great in building a very strong return guest base that we also have confidence in. We know they're going to stay, and they don't even think about staying anywhere else, like when they're going to come to the region, because like you mentioned, we are a return region for so many people year after year after year. So just taking off the table that they're going to consider, oh, maybe we should go see what else is out there. So that's one that I find works. But then also after they leave, one of the things we've invested in over the past year is not just monthly emails, but automation campaigns now, because I was doing a monthly newsletter and that was all. But now we've built automation campaigns for once a guest leaves that are executed. So a reminder at every season. Also, like we call it their Ugaversary, when they came to stay with us. It was this time last year you were with us. Or for those that have given us their birthdays, or we know they came for a celebration, like a reminder, just a happy birthday, happy anniversary, so just finding those ways to automate. And I don't have to remember all the time to sit down and say, oh, it's 20 prior guest birthdays or anniversaries or whatever. It's all stored within, the email system, and all of that is automated. And I think the way that you frame the communication going forward is super important. Like, Ray, ours feels like you're getting a letter from your friend, because I make sure to write it in a way like if I was sitting down having coffee. There's nothing corporate feeling or uptight feeling or even any overt call to actions, but just more like a friendly conversation of like, hey, here's what's going on. Oh my gosh, there's this cool new business that opened up. Oh my goodness, it's October. It's perfect hiking season. And oh, we should go pick, apple picking. Oh, just kind of like memories instead of like strong, oh, we have a big 20% discount because we're, last minute. But making all of our communications are more about building trust than creating sales, than calls to action.
I love that you touched on kind of that that sense of touching your guests through their whole journey, including while they're there with you, like branding it, having some communication or some touch points in the property. I just stayed in a rental in Italy, and the property management group is I guess fairly large within Italy. There was no branding whatsoever in the entire property. Their login for their Wi-Fi was 20 characters. It was 20 numbers when it could have just easily been their company name. Like there was just so many missed opportunities that I felt like, why are we still having these conversations with people? Like you're just missing the mark, like so much. How much of that automation, I'm assuming that all of that goes through what you can do within Logify?
It does. And so I just want to reiterate on that, Annie, that like people think, oh, it's just details. It's no big deal. But it's the details that make the difference. It's the details.
Yeah, absolutely.
The devil's in the details.
The devil and the return guests are.
It's so true. Yeah.
It is so true. But yes, exactly what you said. So in order for me to onboard a technology, it has to integrate with Lodgify, because I consider Lodgify to be my system of record. That is where everything sits, and everything then gets pushed out of Lodgify into a connecting software or pulled back into Lodgify so that I have everything related there. So, for example, Lodgify they have some really good guest management and automation and communication. But for me, I wanted to take it to the next level. I wanted to build whole entire campaigns around it. I wanted to be able to offer upsells and some guidebooks and some different ways for guests to communicate with us all through one stream. So we use Enzo as our guest experiences platform, and it is completely plugged in with Lodgify. They work one-on-one. So as soon as for me, a guest reservation comes in and is confirmed, it moves over to Enzo. And that's where the guest experience is handled from there on out. And then Enzo pushes back into Lodgify everything I need to keep in that guest record. But yeah, I think that is one of the powers that we're seeing of technology as it's grown, because it's changed so much in the past 7 years, is having that heart and soul and point of truth for your tech stack. Because I don't believe, coming from technology and a background, I don't believe for a small business there's one software that can be everything you possibly need it to be, because all of our businesses are as unique as our guests are. I mean, and that's the lovely thing of hospitality, is we all have the opportunity to build a business that matches our passions and our skill sets and where we want to go. And there's no software that's ever going to be able to do that. So I think one of the most important things that you can do when picking your PMS, your system of record, is look at that marketplace to see everything that's out there, and then it plugs in. So while maybe you start with just the basics, that when you're ready to branch out into a more robust, they're there. They've got a partner that can work with you, because I don't want Lodgify to be a guest experiences platform expert, because that's completely different than being a property management expert, right? So as soon as I was ready to start investing into that like next level guest experience where everything's automated, everything's easy, no matter how they want to communicate with us, whether it all comes in through one channel and one stream. And I think that's important for our guests, because it doesn't matter if they send us a text, a WhatsApp, an email, something off of our blog site. It all feeds into the same thing so that we can handle that guest seamlessly. And see everybody who's already responded to them and what's been said. And I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah, it does. And you think about it, you left corporate America because you were burnt out. And we see a lot of people that get into short-term rentals thinking it's this easy breezy business. And then they get burnt out on that when they were already burnt out from the prior career. So that's where the tech really is super important. And, when good tech is working well, you shouldn't even know it's there, right? It's in the background. It's the enabler that's letting you provide your way of doing business and hospitality, but it shouldn't be something that you're constantly having to fix and work on and keep troubleshooting. And I've got plenty of clients I work with that's what we do all day long. So that's good to hear that you've got it set up right between those two systems. But I'm curious too, is there any other tools tools in your tech stack that you use?
Oh my goodness. Yes, I have a lovely tech stack. I should have pulled up my document, but yeah, so our business operations, I think, is our next big hub that I need to find something for. Because right now we're doing it a lot of self-management when it comes to things like accounting and dynamic pricing. We have a bunch of individual solutions and task management and calendar management that I feel that we're managing all those completely separately. So what we have right now that I have all these individuals, we use, of course, Price Labs for dynamic pricing. I absolutely love that. We use QuickBooks for our accounting software. We use both Yale and Remote Lock for our guest access portals. We use Stayfi for our marketing. For a collection of emails. And then Stayfi recently, or in the past year, they've started building out the actual email campaign capability. So we're able to let MailChimp go. And now we're using Stayfi for all of our email automation and campaigns. We use a lot of Zapier so that we can build connections where we need to and do some automations. But I honestly, our tech stack is something that is in constant evolution as more and more capabilities come out. And, some softwares grow, so you can take away some of the ancillary products. Like right now, we are managing our team calendar on Google Calendar, and it's become such a nightmare as our properties grow, as our team grows. So, so those are things we'll be looking to weave out. We built our own tech solution, our own integrations to do that. But I think the constant finessing of the tech stack, like you said, Alex, when it's right and it works really well, it's amazing. But you do have to, tech is constantly releasing updates of things that are happen or make better. So it's that constant. I do find that I spend a good amount of time making sure I keep up with my product updates and constantly figuring out which products do I still need, what are the big holes that I have. Especially AI. That's everybody now has AI solutions in their in their products somewhere. And it's one I'm feeling overwhelmed with right now on what is the AI solution that we want to use for guest response, and what is the AI solution that we want to use for automation of accounting practice, for business ops, things like that. It's constantly evolving, Alex.
It's another full-time job that you have to monitor all that. But I was curious. So you bought a motel. How many units is this motel that you brought in?
It was 16 when we bought it. We've added one room. It's 17, and we'll add one more. So it'll be 18 when we're all done. It'll be 18-room hotel.
I've talked to more and more people, and it's very interesting to me because there's been a lot of talk about the hotel groups coming into vacation rentals and trying to be in that space. But I've talked to more and more people that are smaller hosts and operators. Maybe they've got 5 to 10 units, and there's these these motels in these really quaint markets where they're just run down, and so they buy them and they renovate them, and they theme them out, and they just really take all of what they've learned from being an individual property host and kind of layer that into a motel hotel operation. But for you, was that an easy add-in for was Lodgify flexible enough? Are you going to run it like a motel, or are you running it like each room is an independent rental, or kind of a combination of both?
So we are running it like a motel as far as reservations go. So goodness gracious, we have learned so much the past year. So while short-term rental and motel, hotel do have a lot in common as far as serving a place for travelers to stay, what we have discovered is the guests are completely different on the experience they're looking for. The level of engagement is completely different. The length of the reservations is completely, it's a lot more ops and guest management than a short-term rental is, a lot more. And motels you manage them by the room type, whereas a short-term rental, you manage by the unit. And so you might have 3 sets of 5. So a 5 queen bed, a 5 king beds, and 5 double beds. And so the calendar management on that is completely different than on a short-term rental. So we have had to use, we're using a different property management system that is specific for motels and hotels. However, in order for me to pick that system, I made sure that all of the tech that I use behind the scenes of Lodgify, I could use behind the scenes with Muse. So, and I could use my ends and my guest communication platform. I could use PriceLove, my dynamic pricing. And so I'm trying to unify that tech stack as much as I can behind the scenes, which again is why the marketplace is very, very important, because you do want to be able to plug into different systems as needed. But there is currently not a property management system that serves both the motel, the small motel, hotel, and short-term rental space. And I think that's because it's a new shift we're starting to see in the industry where those of us that have been in short-term rental are starting to blur those lines between what is short-term rental and what is a motel hotel. And like we're starting to bring some of that expectation and some of those best practices that we use into the motel. So yeah, I think as those lines are starting to blur, there's going to start to be some shifts in tech as well, because having gone with a motel solution PMS, I find it to be too robust for us, it's too complicated for as small of a motel as we are, And so in my dream world, Lodgify comes up market a little bit to address those needs as opposed to a big motel system coming down market to try to fit into it. Because once you're in the big hospitality brand mindset, it's hard to come down into the small. So that is a current gap in the tech space for those looking for hotel motel. You do have to think about your tech stack.
Yeah. Good news is a lot of the short-term rental PMSs they deal with that. Like Alex and I both came from markets and companies that had hotel-like inventory. So we were pretty adept at doing short-term rentals, but also, selling it and monitoring and marketing it kind of like a hotel because we had depth of inventory in a building. And so a lot of systems are starting to see that they can get volume by being able to do that. I would imagine a Lodgify understands that that's a gap and will address that for you. Toot sweet, right?
Yes. Actually, they've reached out to me for several conversations on that because, when I went down. I do believe that's the one thing I do love about Lodgify and any software provider you're going with, being transparent about their roadmap is very important.
We'll be back in just a minute. But first, a word from our premier brand sponsor.
I'm Arlen Buznitz with Destined Dreamers. I'm the CEO. We've been working with Xplorie now 2 years. Before Xplorie, the guests, if they wanted extra experiences outside the house, they had to go pay for it. With Xplorie, now we're offering free tickets, and guests can come in knowing that they have many free activities without having to pay additional. We started with Xplorie because we wanted to enhance the guest experience, give us a competitive advantage in the area, and also cause more people to book. When a guest books with us, they have the opportunity to experience 10 plus different activities through Xplorie. We're talking golf, parasailing, snorkeling, dolphin cruises, miniature golf, water park, tiki cruise to Crab Island, all that. So it's quite a good value that the guest gets. Our brand is that we are more than a stay, and this helps us solidify that because yes, the guests get all these free experiences. What's helped with Xplorie is it does show up in the reviews, and then also it's really helped our sales team. When people are trying to decide between houses, it gives us another little extra shove to push them towards going with us versus another company. In our county, there's over 7,000 vacation rentals. Many options, so you have to be distinct. Xplorie has been great to work with. When you're dealing at the volume we deal with, there's gonna be issues that pop up once in a while. And I know and have experienced that they're easily resolved, and they're very receptive to ideas too, because in this fast moving vacation rental world, there's always ways to update systems, and Xplorie is very good at updating, upgrading, and making sure that guests and us have a great experience. I'll be asked, do I recommend Xplorie? If it is somebody who's outside our market, I say yes. If it's somebody who's inside our market, I say no, because I don't want the competition. The reason I recommend Xplorie is because it is a simple, easy, inexpensive way to enhance the guest experience. And just for that small fee per night, we are able to provide incredible benefits to the guests.
Looking to take your guest experience to the next level? Xplorie helps you stand out by connecting guests to curated, complimentary local activities. And now, Alex and Annie listeners get free onboarding when you join as a new partner. This exclusive offer is valid through November 30th, 2025. Click the link in the description to get started today.
If a tech vendor is not willing to show you the roadmap, or they're not willing to be upfront about, yes, we're going to do this, no, that's not a priority, then I would run in the other direction, because that means they're just willing to feed you something to get you on board. I would rather a tech provider say to me, no, we're not going to do that. That doesn't mean that means if I do decide to go with them, I just know that's a gap I need to fill. And I'm okay with that. Like, as knowing, like I said, there's no tech that does everything. I just need to be clear about what are the capability gaps that I need to be able to fill.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to see the spreadsheet that you put together back in the day to try and compare it too, because I think that comes up often at conferences, and there's a few different consultants out there that work with people to go through that process. But there are a lot of things that you have to think about in making that decision. And I think the roadmap is a really smart one that probably a lot of companies don't necessarily ask that. I mean, they might ask, do you have this integration or that integration? But you really need to have those conversations with the PMS is the most important tech that you're going to buy. So understanding what their goal is, not even just for the roadmap, but for the vision for the company, where they're going, make sure they're going to be in business in a few years, not like the companies you mentioned the other day. Of course, nobody has that on their roadmap to go out of business, but just understanding what the founder vision there is pretty important too. But I wanted to switch gears with you a little bit, and just the area that you're in, it's different than we're in, but I'm wondering, do you have any, what's the craziest guest story that you have for somebody staying in one of the chalets?
Oh my goodness, a crazy guest story. I'm going to sound so boring because we have such really good guests. I don't think that, okay, here's one. Okay. This was back in the day from when we first started. So our chalets are in a mature forest area, so we do not have outdoor fire pits. So someone decided that they wanted to have an outdoor fire anyway. So they piled up wood and they literally set our yard on fire. And then they started a bonfire. And then they left $20 on the table and said, here's for regrassing the land.
Oh my God. $20 is going to cut it. Wow.
I honestly feel like we have such good guests. Like when everyone's telling their horror stories, I'm like, oh my God, we're so lucky.
Well, and that's great, right? Because that speaks to obviously your processes and how you're vetting guests, how you're communicating with them. Like you said earlier, that they feel like they know you. So there's a little bit more of a connection there to not come in and trash the place or doing anything crazy except for burn the lawn down. But
right. I try to be as clear as we can, like in our initial communication about what is our area and who we want to bring in. Like, I'm not saying come here. Like literally this is, if you're looking for a calm, quiet place within a neighborhood and you're going to respect the silence. Like I'm very, very clear on what this is not. And I tell them I'm all down for a great party, a great birthday celebration, blah, blah, blah. This is not the place for that. When you want to come, when you want to come relax from that birthday party, then, we would love to have you, and I find that people also appreciate that because I haven't kept track of it, but there are a number of people that have said, okay, this is not the right place for us or whatnot for this event. But then they come back later and they're like, hey, we wrote to you 2 years ago. We were looking da-da-da, but now it's just me and my partner. We want just a chill weekend, so people appreciate, I think, the transparency up front. And I let them know we're on it. We have noise detectors. We have outside cameras looking at the driveways, we're on it. So you're not going to get away with it.
Yeah, no, that's smart.
I have a question. Did the people that burned the yard, did they come back or they're not a repeat?
They probably were intuit enough to know this is a one and done.
Yeah, they obviously felt bad if they left for $20, but
not that $20 was going to cover. At least, you should have said, well, we'd be happy to have you come stay with us again at a 10% discount, and you can resod the grass.
Yeah, and you can do it. Yeah, we'll make sure we get you a house with a regular fire pit next time.
Yeah. And I have uninvited people from coming back. If I have guests that I don't want to come back, I will send them an email after the follow-up and say, thank you so much for being our guest. We appreciate you giving us a try, but I don't think we're a good fit for you. So please, I chat GPT helped me put it, the last one I do a lovely way, but please respectfully don't ever come back to see us again.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I guess, you have to worry about, a lot of managers have to worry about breaking up with owners, but you own all your properties. You just have to worry about breaking up with guests. So
Yeah.
I do. And I will break up with guests. I've broken up with a few this year, and it's, to me, it's not, I didn't get in this to be super stressed. So if a guest is coming that creates, I broke up with 1 3-year guest this year. It was like, I just can't anymore.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Well, that shows the power of the CRM too, right? So it's like when they call back or email and they want to book again, like making sure you have those notes and that this is not the guest that you want to have. And that one thing that we used to always do is if a guest, asked for a discount, if we gave them a discount, and if while they were in the property, if they had a bunch of service calls of things that was like, their issues or things that they ruined, when they call back next year, if we're still going to rent to them, we're not giving them a discount. You have to kind of draw the line at some point. And if they're that bad, you just say you can't rent to them again. But it's always something,
It is always something. And my cleaning team is good. Like they will tell me, we would like you to uninvite this guest.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just that they're really messy. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. However, they spend $10,000 a year with us, and it's just a really big clean every time they leave. Nothing dramatic.
Yeah.
So we're going to clean really hard for $10,000 a year.
So Kerri, what is next for you guys? So you got this motel. Are you looking to expand, buy more properties, branch into the U.S.? Like what's next for you guys?
Oh my goodness. So I don't know a good answer.
Yeah,
the answer is
it's a great answer. It's honest.
The answer is we're going to continue. Like I think we have realistically another 18 months to get this motel to where we want it to be. And we do everything ourselves. Like I said, we do the renovations, we install all the ops, we're going to install the team, and we're going to get it to an experience where I would want to vacation all said and done before we move on. And then at that point, we'll see. We have said several times after a renovation, okay, that's it. We're done. We're just going to ride this one out. And after about 3 to 6 months, we're like, we're kind of bored. What are we going to do now? So we need to be passionate about it. We need to be excited about it. And when it stops being fun and exciting is when we'll start to consider, should we be in the industry anymore? Is it time to sell? Or, what does that look like? But for now, we love it. We take it as it comes. We'll always scale thoughtfully because I want any customer at any time to reach out to me if they want, no matter how much team we have in place. I still want to be on the ground. I still want to be meeting our guests. I still want to be accessible. So I have no aspirations of building this billion-dollar company. I just have aspirations of creating, as long as people love what we're doing and we love what we're doing, and then opportunity comes along that we are passionate about, we'll keep going.
Yeah.
I love that.
No, that's a great plan.
It is.
Sometimes the best plans don't need to be so, thoughtfully thought out. What you're doing and how you execute is obviously done very thoughtfully. And if you're enjoying it, then keep doing it. And when opportunities come up, you take them or you leave them. But that's life, I guess, for you. But
it is. I learned that lesson the hard way. I kept going on some things for a long, long, long time that brought me unhappiness and made me a person I didn't want to be. So I try to be better about listening to what's good for me, and what's going to help me put my best face into the world, I guess, as opposed to, like that stressed, overworked, unhappy person, because nobody wants to be that.
Yeah, life is short.
Very
well,
true.
Kerri, it's such a pleasure to get to know you today, and thank you for sharing not only your tech story, but also your story. And it's fun talking to people like you, because it's very obvious you love what you do, and that clearly comes through to your guests too. So, good job to both you and your partner. You guys are doing an awesome experience.
And thank you, ladies, for being part of our journey. All you podcasters, the few of you that have been in from the beginning, you have been in my ears from the time that I was staining pieces of wood and to doing demo to now sitting at my desk doing whatever. But you guys, all of you guys that have put yourselves out there to help this industry be as amazing as we can be and continually grow and evolve. It's because of all of you that are constantly putting the work into it. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank
That's
you.
very kind of you. If anybody wants to get in touch with you and learn more about your business or book with Hygge, did I say that right? I'm still like, no matter how much I say it, I'm saying it wrong. If they want to book with Hygge, like, what's the best way to get in touch with you other than going to your website?
Oh, I love LinkedIn. So we've been so busy. I spend more time stalking LinkedIn than I do actually find it, like actually posting about there. But I'm hoping that's going to change. But I love LinkedIn. And of course, my personal Instagram is where I also would like to follow a lot of people personally and talk more business than just hospitality as well. So that's Kerri_reinvented. And then, all of our handles for our businesses as well. So,
that's awesome. Well, we'll definitely check out your personal channels too. Well, thank you, Kerri, so much for coming on. And for anybody that wants to get in touch with Annie and I, you can go to alexandanniepodcast.com. And until next time, thanks for tuning in, everybody.